Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Caravan of Garbage, where we love IP.
Oh, we love IP, sure.
We
love to IP freely.
Ah, good.
It doesn't make any sense in this context.
That's okay.
This is just word association, though.
We're just riffing.
We're just riffing.
We're just jazzing.
That's right.
Look, even if the IP is this old, The Wizard of Oz,
sure.
we'll take a look at it because, of course, we're getting Wicked in the year 2024.
Yeah.
So we thought we'll cover 3 Wizard of Oz adjacent movies.
Just call us a couple of friends of Dorothy, you know what I mean?
That's
You know what I mean, James?
I know what you mean.
We're going to cover all these movies that have Dorothy in them.
Well, one of them won't. One of them won't have Dorothy in it.
Oh, yeah. The bad one.
I don't know if it is bad. We'll get to it.
Okay.
We'll get to it.
Which one are
Might
we
have a
talking
bad
about, though?
person in it.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyways, please leave a like because we are looking at 1939's The Wizard of Oz.
That's right. Now, initially, I thought to myself, are we even qualified to cover this? You know what I mean?
Because we're too young and vibrant.
Well, I was going to say, and at first glance, it's a kid's movie from the 30s and et cetera, et cetera. But then, upon a rewatch, this is a mere parallel universe story, isn't it? It's a multiverse situation. We're more than qualified to cover this. This, James, is a classic Japanese...
You're making it worse.
James, this is a classic Japanese isekai, person transported to another world, in the style of Batman Ninja, Sorceress, Stabber Orphan, and So I'm a Spider, So What? Those are all real. I had to look them up.
So what? It's like accusatory.
What?
So what?
What now? What are you going to do about it? This is our realm, James, I tell you what.
Absolutely it is. And this is actually the second film adaptation of The Wizard of Oz. There was one in 1910. Here's some of it. Yuck.
I'm not going to watch that.
No, don't watch the one that's got colour and that. Are we going to get into the concept of how they did all the Technicolor filming? No. Corridor crew, go speak to them. They'll tell you what's happening. How you make things colour or not colour. I'll do this one though. When it goes to the colourful, beautiful land of Oz.
Is it a trick?
It is a trick. Okay. They painted the room in a sepia tone kind of thing.
That's spray painted the actress?
Yeah, they did.
That's
a stand-in for Dorothy.
Asbestos-based paint.
Look, I've got a whole list of people who nearly or did die around this movie.
Because of all the asbestos.
Yeah, let's just get into the magic of it.
The 1930s wonder material, asbestos.
We'll do all the magic and the wonder.
Magic and wonder.
And all the good things about this movie, and then I'll just rattle off all the terrible accidents that happen.
Newsflash, everyone's dead.
Yeah,
everybody involved in this is dead.
Yep.
Some went off quicker than others.
But just quickly, the way they went to colour was, it's a sepia-toned room, it's a stand-in for Dorothy, she steps out of frame.
Spray painted both asbestos.
Exactly. We'll get to that, Mason.
All right.
And then it's a beautiful, colourful world, etc. That's how they did it.
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah. Pretty good. What I was going to ask is, do you think at the time anyone stormed out of the cinema, like in the first 10 minutes, demanding their money back because they were promised beautiful Technicolor and it's in sepia? Or do you think they had to word people up? You know what I mean? Was there a sign in the foyer that was like, settle down. Just settle down. Please don't burn the cinema
Give it
down.
a minute.
This thing's full of asbestos, this cinema. So just settle down. Have mercy. It will turn to colour eventually.
You might be right. That being said, I find the opening of this, I still think there's a lot of wonder there and whimsy and great character setup and all of these things.
Weird faces.
And weird faces.
That's what I love about an
I love
old
a weird
movie.
face.
Weird faces. Nobody's got veneers.
No.
Nobody's had surgery or whatever because there wasn't any. You just die.
You
If you
just
tried
died.
that.
That's right.
You know? Could you shrink my nose down a little bit? Yeah, but you'd die. You still want to do it? It's the 30s.
Just shave off some of your nose.
Yeah.
We'll do it.
Yeah.
We'll do it.
Yeah, go to this barber. He'll do it for you for some reason.
I caught myself smiling during this multiple times.
You haven't smiled in years.
No, I caught myself too. I went, I gotcha.
You old codger. You said to yourself, you old so-and-so.
So it's funny because early in development of this, MGM discovered that Walt Disney, they were also working on their own version of this. And rather than...
So they're rivals.
They're rivals, basically. And rather
Not these days. They're all owned by one guy.
They're all owned by Amazon, I think. I don't know. Rather than go head-to-head, both studios decided that maybe they'd combine these projects into a live-action/animation hybrid because Walt Disney, of course, recently did Snow White, which was a huge success. People loved it. Scheduling issues ended this collaboration, and Disney ended up cancelling their own version. So this is the one that went forward, and people know, except Disney did do the sequel to this, the unofficial sequel, because you can base it off the books and whatever, etc. and so forth. Yeah. Anyways, 4 directors worked on this.
Oh, yeah? Did any of them die?
I mean, they're all dead now.
They're all dead now, sure.
Not in relation to this, as far as I can tell.
The first guy, Victor Fleming, he was on the way out, I think. He was not well.
Yeah, I mean, everyone was on the way out in this era, you know?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I just think it's a beautiful looking film, and you can tell that it's all shot indoors. The only element that isn't is in the titles with the clouds. That's the only thing that is real. Everything else is sound stages.
Okay.
And like you can see the walls in this movie.
Yeah, you sure can, yeah.
But it doesn't really matter. It's kind of, it adds almost like a stage play kind of element to it. But there's so many amazing shots in it when the monkeys take off from the witch's castle, and you see the miniature ones like flying in the background. You have to do all that in camera.
That's true.
Like, there's no other way around it.
Well, they didn't think to do it in post, did they?
No, they didn't. Which is way easier.
Right?
You just film whatever and then you fix it later. It's easy. Everybody does it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you need to remember, if you're like, oh, it's an old movie or whatever, that's you, Mason.
I do say that all the time.
There was nothing like this. Like, if you look at that...
Until 1999, then The Matrix came out.
That's true. Then there was something adjacent to this. Yeah, but... movies weren't like this. They were like historical dramas and, you know, and I'm not saying movies were bad then, but maybe they were. But this was like the Avatar 2009.
Absolutely it was, yeah.
Of its day.
They're painting people weird colours.
They're painting weird colours.
You know?
Yeah.
There's elaborate costumes. There's flying stuff.
Yep.
Murder.
There's
so much murder.
Well, let's talk...
I mean, it's manslaughter, isn't it?
I don't know. What's dropping a house on someone?
That's manslaughter.
Okay.
Unless you did it on purpose. There's a famous TV listing from Rick Polito from 1998 that says The Wizard of Oz on TCM, transported to a surreal landscape, a young girl kills the first person she meets and then teams up with 3 strangers to kill again.
Well, let's talk about Dorothy because she's a real Luke Skywalker. This is for the younger people.
Would you say she's a Mary Sue or more of a Dorothy Gale?
Sure.
Okay.
Yes, both. You know, she's like Luke Skywalker or Mary Sue or Dorothy Gale. She's like, this farm sucks. I want to kill. Luckily, she gets the opportunity. You know, she gets caught up in some petty, like, farmhand drama and all of that.
Yeah.
And then
the lady next door wants to kill my dog because my dog keeps attacking her.
And she just
it's unfair.
She just turns up and she's like, this dog is mine. And everyone's like, well, you got a bit of paper. I mean, anybody could have signed this bit of paper, but this dog is yours now, I guess. Okay, shout out, long dead. But Margaret Hamilton, who plays 3 roles in this, she plays the Wicked Witch of the West. She plays the sinister old lady trying to steal a dog because the dog keeps biting her.
Yeah.
And she plays the Wicked Witch of the East, the witch who flies past the window.
Yes.
That's the one that gets squashed.
Notably absent, Witch of the South.
Yeah, there's another witch.
Yeah, unaccounted for though.
Yeah.
Little Easter egg, little mystery there. You know what I
Unaccounted
mean?
for, yeah.
You're thinking a sequel or a prequel or something? We'll get the...
Definitely.
Is it in Wicked? I haven't seen Wicked.
I don't think it is in Wicked.
Okay,
I've seen Wicked, and no, it's not in Wicked.
Witch of the South. Australian witch.
Yeah, mate.
Yeah, that's right.
G'day, fellas. Where are you off to? Wizard of Oz. He's just a fucking bloke.
G'day, boys. Abracadabra, boys. Am I right? G'day, boys. What are we up to, boys? Bit of bubble, toil and trouble, eh, boys?
Anyways, Margaret Hamilton, she was a lifelong fan of the Oz books, and when she phoned her agent to find out what role she was up for, the agent apparently replied, "The witch. Who else?" Yeah. So the witch was supposed to be a more of a beautiful witch. But of course, in the script, it's like, she's a hideous woman.
Yeah.
Like, they make sure to let you know.
All evil people are ugly.
That's right.
If you're going to take one lesson away from this movie, that's it.
I don't think there's that much difference between Glinda and the bad witch, man. I think it's just some spray paint. Yep. I don't think there's that much difference here, man.
Some spray paint and some more springtime colours, really.
That's what I'm saying.
It's the vibe, really, you know.
So originally they cast Gail Sondergaard, who was a sleeker, sexier witch.
Sleeker?
Yeah.
Like a dolphin.
Yeah, like a dolphin.
Wow.
Like a slick dolphin witch. But they're like, this doesn't play because witches are ugly.
And she's always like...
But Margaret Hamilton, apparently just a wonderful person.
Okay.
Her and Judy Garland got along really well on what was a very troubling shoot. We'll get to it. She even had an interview with Fred Rogers in 1968 where she sat down and like explained like the backstory of this character, how she saw her as like a sad, lonely figure who lived in like constant frustration, and she...
Sounds like the origin of Wicked.
It's Wicked, Mason.
That's what I thought.
It's Wicked before Wicked. It's Wicked before the book Wicked from the mid-90s.
I mean, you very rarely hear a story about an actor where they're like, yeah, the character was a real evil son of a bitch. But in real life, the actor was also a real evil son of a bitch and we hated him. Never goes that way, does it?
No, it's true, yeah. But this basically followed her for her entire life. Like, kids would see her and be like, oh, it's a witch. And she's like, I'm nice. And they're like, we don't think you are. You tried to kill that girl. Anyway, Glinda, incredibly unhelpful. And a bad person.
I mean, she knew...
Also, boring.
Spoiler alert, she knew how to get Dorothy home the whole time.
Yeah.
You know?
And she's like, hey, Dorothy, put these shoes on, and just does it. And then the witch is like, what the fuck? What is this?
Yeah.
And she just lets her take the heat.
I'd get those shoes off you, but they have like an anti-theft device like Judge Dredd's Lawgiver. They absolutely go off if you try and steal them.
And also, at least the Wicked Witch of the West is doing rad shit. And she's got motivations.
Yes.
And you killed her sister. She's got dreams, you know?
I mean, accidentally.
Doesn't matter. She doesn't know that.
This is a real...
She just rolled in.
This is a real Iron Man versus Winter Soldier situation.
It is.
You know, Dorothy killed her sister Winter Soldier style. and she, I didn't know. It wasn't my fault. I don't care. I'm a witch.
I'm gonna light you on
I'm gonna get
fire. Yeah. And look, yeah, like you mentioned, just that idea that you could have gone home all along, you idiot. And I think the Scarecrow, one of them's like, oh, why didn't you tell her? And she's like, well, you wouldn't believe me. I think she would have.
I guess you had to learn a lesson. Did she? Did she? Did she, though?
What's the lesson?
Something about farms, I think. Respect your elders. I don't know.
Kill.
Kill. Appear in a universe where everybody, like society-wide, is celebrating this murder. Like Munchkin shows up and he's already got the death certificate
He's
printed.
ready.
He was ready. Do you think they were going to do it that day anyway?
Well,
they were going to kill the witch already, and it's just like they were going to poison her cereal or whatever. But then the house landed on her, and they're like, no, that'll do.
I think it's like when some actors or whoever, public figures, are incredibly old and they've got that newsreel ready to go.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And they're like, Henry Kissinger is dead and he's a bad guy, etc.
Yeah,
you know?
that's right.
Yeah. Anyways, the Scarecrow, the Cowardly Lion, the Tin Man, the makeup is all incredible and you can really see the detail since it's been restored. The Scarecrow makeup, you can see there's like a mesh to it, which
yeah.
apparently left lines on his face for like 8 months after being pried out of this thing. Also, apparently they considered using a real lion, and considering how everything else went in the production of this, it's very lucky they did not do that.
Probably couldn't get very many funny lines out of him.
No, I'd imagine not funny lines out of him, Mason.
Oh,
yeah.
I like the line. He was my favorite.
Yeah? I like the Tin Man.
Interesting.
Because he's cool. He reminds me of Iron Man.
Yeah.
And he's cool.
It's true.
Yeah.
Well, the line reminds me of Craven the Hunter, who at the time of recording, that movie isn't out, but I reckon he's cool too.
Yeah. I mean, he's always protecting those animals,
And
isn't
it was big at the box office.
Yeah, it was
as well.
big at the box office.
Yeah.
I agree. I also love the Wizard just across the board in terms of a character. Because he's just a con man. And he's openly a con man, a charlatan. And his shitty gifts that he gives at the end.
Let me ask you a question though, James.
Yeah.
So the wizard, he's not omnipotent, he's not omniscient.
No.
But when the four show up at his place, he knows what they want already.
Yeah, they told him already. Someone told him.
Oh, okay.
They're all in cahoots.
Oh, you reckon?
They're all in conjunction, Mason.
Okay, you think so?
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they are actually.
All right then.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought I was cracking open a mystery there, but I guess somebody told him.
A monkey probably flew ahead. Something flew ahead,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. A pigeon that can talk or something.
Pigeon can talk.
You know?
Yeah. How did you feel about the music in this?
Oh, I mean, you know.
Because I think it's delightful.
It's a little bit. I mean, the more famous ones are delightful. Somewhere Over the Rainbow, obviously.
Yep.
You know, famously covered by Kermit the Frog, I
Oh,
think.
yeah. Sure.
And some of the others.
Didn't he do Rainbow Connection?
He did do Rainbow Connection.
Let's say he did both.
I bet he did both.
Yeah.
I bet we can get an AI to have him do Somewhere Over the Rainbow also.
For free too, right?
Yeah, for free.
Yeah.
Yeah. No impact on the environment at all. Don't even worry about it.
No, I think with the exception of when they arrive in Munchkin Land, it's like, come on, man, you're doing 4 songs in a row here. Let's move it along. And because if you've noticed, because there's a bunch of stuff that's been deleted from this and most of which is not available, it slowly becomes not a musical.
It is true, isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
But yeah, just I think there's some real bangers in this, mate.
Oh, there's a few bangers, you better believe it, yeah.
Yeah. So that's good fun and I like it. Did you like how the witch melted?
Yes.
You did like that?
I did like that, yeah.
All right.
Again, that's not murder either.
No, that's not murder.
How would one possibly know that pouring plain water on someone would kill them? You
Well,
know?
if you've seen Wicked, you'll know that maybe the witch isn't really dead, Mason.
Oh, just disfigured.
Just disfigured horribly.
Interesting.
Well, speaking of, here's a section of the show called Torture! Exclamation mark!
Oh, no.
Here's all the terrible things that happened, Mason. We had to get to it. Judy Garland, who, by the way, what a legend.
Agreed.
We haven't really talked about it, but an amazing performance. They started off her with like a blonde wig and more like baby doll makeup. That was the first director. And looking at the studio, I was like, no, this is bad. So eventually, through the several other directors, they came at this kind of more natural kind of performance and look, which I think really lends itself to like the authenticity of the character and all of that. Like a normal person in a wondrous land. Just like Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, or Batman in Batman Ninja.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
He didn't know what was happening.
That's right. I'm just a farm boy.
There was too many anime happening.
I'm just a farm boy from Gotham City here. I don't know what's happening. Better build a giant robot, I guess.
Better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Judy Garland was made to wear a corset to appear younger despite being 16. They wanted her all like...
That's young enough, I reckon.
I think so. She could be 16. That's fine, right? Allegations of what happened to her on set included her being given Benzedrine tablets to keep her weight down, along with uppers and downers, which caused giggling fits. Okay. That's fun. She struggled with substance abuse as a result of studios putting pressure on her and feeding her all sorts of concoction of... It's horrible. It's horrible. She had a horrible life, Mason. I don't like it. I don't condone it either.
I thought you were going to finally condone it. But you didn't condone it.
The old me would have.
Yeah, I know,
But
right?
I've grown.
Yeah, sure.
Claims have been made in memoirs that frequently drunk actors portraying the Munchkins propositioned and pinched her. There were allegations that she was groped by Louis B. Mayer, who was the head of MGM at the time. Mm-hmm. While filming the scene in which...
He invented the Oscars, you know.
Did he?
To get actors and crew members to fight amongst themselves, not demand better. Did you know
that?
That's
why
bad. That's why the Oscars exist.
I thought it was a flashy night of nights so everybody could pat each other on the back.
You're thinking of the Australian TV Week Logie Awards.
I am, aren't I? Mm-hmm. But he didn't invent those, did he? Those are ours.
Those are pure.
Good. Those are TV Week's own.
And everything that happens on the night's very pure.
That's right. I mean?
Cocaine.
Cocaine, Mason! While filming the scene in which Dorothy slaps the Cowardly Lion, Judy Garland got the giggles so badly that she had to take a break from shooting. The director, or one of the directors, the one who was directing this part, Victor Fleming, took her aside, gave her a quick lecture, and then slapped her. The lecture's probably enough. That's my opinion.
I reckon maybe the lecture is probably going too far.
Yeah, well, you're right. Just maybe let's do some acting, you know?
Yeah, sure,
let's all have fun out there.
Yeah, it's a fun thing we're doing.
Yeah. She returned to set and filmed the scene in one take. Fleming was afraid this would damage their relationship. And even told a co-worker he wished someone would hit him in the nose and break it because of how bad he felt. But Garland overheard the conversation and gave him a kiss on the nose to show that she bore no hard feelings. That's great. That's great.
Yeah, that's great stuff.
Yeah.
Great stuff, everyone. Good job, everyone.
During the haunted forest scene, several actors playing the winged monkeys were injured when the piano wires suspending them snapped, dropping them several feet to the floor of the soundstage. And that's just a floor.
Yeah.
It's just a wooden floor.
If they're lucky. Yeah. I mean, if they're unlucky, that's an asbestos-coated floor.
Absolutely.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
Bangs up, dust gets in their mouths, they're done for, you know?
Oh, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Terry, who made her film debut in the Shirley Temple vehicle Bright Eyes in 1934, was the primary dog who played Toto. She was stepped on by one of the witch's castle guards and had a double for 2 weeks. Buddy Eabsby, the original Tin Man, was covered in aluminium dust or aluminum dust.
Yeah, Americans say aluminum, we get it.
Yeah.
We get it for efficiency's sake. Drop an eye out, we get it. God, who told you to do that? Was it Craig? Was it your friend Craig?
He was covered in aluminium dust, which ended up coating his lungs. He had an allergic reaction to it. I think it was just a regular reaction.
I was going to say, I mean, probably allergic or not, if you get a bunch of heavy metals in your lungs and on your lungs.
Yeah.
You know.
One day he was physically unable to breathe and he had to be rushed to hospital. So the part was immediately recast and MGM gave no public reason why Ebsen had been replaced. However, his vocals remain whenever the song We're Off to See the Wizard is played. So he is in this movie but he didn't get paid. In the famous Poppyfield scene, in which Dorothy and the Cowardly Lion fall asleep, the snow used in those shots was made from 100% industrial grade asbestos.
I knew it.
Yeah. So I guess the Good Witch technically...
Also, nothing happened there, so...
Yeah.
Ironically, the scene that was absolutely just dripping with asbestos, nothing bad
They could have just carried her out of there. The Good Witch is like, I know, we'll fix this, asbestos. She's a bad witch. She doesn't know what she's doing. Would you rather... There we go, yeah. Would you rather be asleep or get cancer from snow that's made of asbestos? Imagine having a nice sleep, maybe forever, or you die a horrible death.
Can I have both?
Yeah.
Terrific.
Because that's what happened.
That's the magic of the land of Oz.
Boy, is it. Also, the witch's burning broomstick was also done with asbestos. That just seems unnecessary.
It was a wonder material. You could do anything with it.
It's wood. It was made of wood. You could have just whatever.
James, burning wood doesn't look like wood on screen.
Oh, that's a good point, actually. Oh, this one's just horrendous. So in the first take of the scene where the Wicked Witch of the West leaves Munchkin Land, the smoke that was supposed to go up around her came early and started forming before she stepped onto the platform that she was supposed to disappear into. So they did it again, and on the second take, part of Margaret Hamilton's cape became caught on the platform when a burst of fire appeared, so her makeup heated up, causing second and third degree burns on her hands and face. And it was later discovered that one of the key components of her makeup was copper. So the producers just ended up using the first take anyway. So they just went, we could just use the one where she didn't get lit on fire.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Kids will like that one better, I reckon.
I think so, yeah. So they removed the green makeup from the burned area by using a solvent acetone, which of course when rubbed into burnt areas caused agonizing pain. Yeah, just a lifelong injury.
Classic.
And it's a classic movie.
Classic 1930s movie production.
Yeah. Anyways, it's time for Mason, the Wizard Trivia Oz.
Nice, you've replaced the word.
I have, you're right.
You put trivia.
That's a good spot. You've got a keen eye.
Yeah. I get it.
This is great. I actually love this. When the wardrobe department was looking for a coat for Frank Morgan, Professor Marvel, who is the wizard, it was decided
James, they're different people? One of them is from Kansas, and one of them is from Kansas, but he lives in the land of Oz.
But they're different blokes.
They're different, yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It was decided they wanted one that looked elegant, but had since gone to seed. So they went to a secondhand store and they purchased an entire rack, and they ended up deciding on this particular one that they thought gave off this appearance of shabby gentility. And one day, when he was on set, he looked in the pockets and he discovered a label indicating that it had been made for L. Frank Baum.
He's the Wizard of Oz guy who wrote the Wizard of Oz.
That's right, it turned out it was the same guy who wrote the Wizard of Oz books. Pure coincidence, movie magic.
That's movie magic,
yeah. MGM paid... That's movie magic, everybody.
Yeah. He'd gone to seed.
Yeah.
L. Frank Baum.
Yeah.
He'd gone to seed.
He's all right, though, yeah?
Yeah, looked like a real bum. Looked like a bum, that guy.
MGM paid $75,000 for the film rights to the book, which was a towering sum at the time. At the end of the sequence in which Dorothy and the Scarecrow first meet the Tin Man, as the three are marching off singing We're Off to See the Wizard, there's a disturbance in the trees to the top right. Now, you know about this? There's the rumor.
There's a rumor that a munchkin hung themselves or something?
Yeah. It's just a silhouette of a crested crane stretching its wings.
Well, we've shot that down.
Yeah, don't worry about it. I mean, that's been debunked years ago.
Yeah,
but someone will be like, what about that munchkin? What about him?
What about everything else that happened? All the other bad stuff.
Yeah.
That was real. Settle down.
Yeah, and they're all dead anyway, all right? Each pair of those ruby slippers that remain, they reckon there's about 5 publicly. They're worth about $1.5 million.
Huh. And you said you were going to buy a pair and wear them in the video,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. What do you think? What do you think, Mason?
Well, they can't see.
What do you think?
I can't see them because they're below the desk and I'm not going to look. So,
no.
Yeah, what a waste of money.
No, I don't think so.
Do you take this out of the company fund?
Yeah. Where do you think I get it from? It's not spending my own money. It's not a moron.
No, that's you are a smart businessman. As long as they feel comfortable. Do they feel comfortable?
No.
Well, as long as some money changed hands, I guess.
Also, I've broken them.
Okay, good. Good.
You know the bit where the Scarecrow says, the sum of the square root of any two sides of an isosceles triangle is equal to the square root of the remaining side?
That happens to Homer Simpson when he puts on Henry Kissinger's glasses,
yes,
right?
That's right.
In an episode of The Simpsons.
Yeah, it's wrong.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
This movie is funnier than I think perhaps people give it credit to. You know?
I agree.
I think a lot of the, I mean, Dorothy is very sincere, but I think her three companions are very funny throughout a lot of this.
Funny blokes.
Yeah. Also, I'm glad Henry Kissinger's finally dead.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. Thank God.
Jesus.
Took him long enough.
Right.
And he dropped his glasses in the toilet.
He did. Very embarrassing.
It's a real thing that happened. Mm-hmm. Anyways, this cost $2.7 million, which was quite a lot of money at the time, but not now. So...
Now it's chump change. It's change for chumps.
It's easy. You buy a pair of shoes with it, you got some left over.
It's a bloody rounding error for bloody... I was going to say MGM, but they're hurting bad these days.
No,
I would love that amount of money.
Amazon own them. They're fine.
Yeah. It's chump change for those boys over at Warner Brothers, isn't it? Those Warner Brothers.
Oh yeah. So in its initial release, it made about $3 million, and so it probably lost about $1 million after like marketing and distribution. So it wasn't
Benzedrine tablet purchases.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a huge hit. Like people liked it, but it was also a little bit before its time.
Yeah.
Like this fantasy element of it, color probably.
Yeah, sure.
Other things.
Probably a lot of places wouldn't have color movie projectors.
No.
So it'd be advertised this incredible world in color, and most people would be like, I don't understand. Maybe I'm colorblind. I don't know.
Yeah, you probably are though. But over its many and multiple runs, because it's played in theaters over the years, it's come up to $29.7 million. But that's not really where the money or like the prestige of this comes from, because it obviously got shown on television a lot. 44 million people tuned into the first televised broadcast of this on November 3rd, 1956.
Now that's the 1956 equivalent of waiting for streaming.
Yeah, it really is.
Just a couple of decades. It'll be on there in a couple of decades. Why would I bother?
Now you just got to wait 4 days after Borderlands comes out. And you can get it on streaming for $24.99.
You shouldn't, though.
No, don't do it.
Do not reward them for Borderlands.
No, you should steal Borderlands.
Yeah.
Because they did a bad thing.
That's right.
This is also probably the oldest movie to be converted into 3D for its 2013 re-release.
How did that go?
Probably pretty well, I reckon.
Oh, yeah? You reckon?
It's a good movie. I showed my kids the other day. They're like, this fucking rocks. And I'm like, that's rude. Don't say that. And I'm like, no, you're right. It's good, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, they were less scared of the witch because they'd just seen Wicked. Because otherwise, it's a frightening performance.
Okay, they kept pointing at the screen and going, that's understandable, actually.
Yeah.
Of your past trauma, actually.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And her name's Abatha or something like that.
Okay.
Alzabab? I can't remember. I don't know her name.
Ethanol alcohol.
Yes, there we go. The film, when it did come out, it was, again, relatively popular with audiences, so MGM considered using the original cast for a sequel. Plans never got past the development stage. Also, of course, Judy Garland, her star rose dramatically. Margaret Hamilton was also, she was kind of, I don't know whether I want to reprise this role. I don't know whether she would have come back as a different witch or whatever.
Can you give me some non-burning makeup, please?
Yeah, please. Thank you.
No.
Yeah. So it just became financially not viable to do so. Yeah. So they left it. And, sequels, it wasn't really an era of that, really.
That's true,
A
yeah.
little bit, but not so much. There were serials, but it had to do better.
And so there wasn't a sequel for 50 years.
Yeah, and there wasn't even MGM who did that next sequel. I mean, it's been adapted into various other whatevers, and there's animated versions, etc. and so forth. There actually is an anime from the 80s.
I bet there is. I bet there's also a Sci-Fi Channel original. It's dark and gritty. They go back to Oz or something, or they're going to Oz for the first time.
It's called We're Going to Oz for the first time, back to Oz.
And then there's that prison drama.
Oz. Just Oz.
Yeah.
Has that got any relation to this?
Yeah, it's exactly the same.
Oh, okay, cool.
Every episode is just, it's there in prison.
People getting horrendously burnt or dropped from ceilings or stabbed or whatever.
Pretty much,
All the things that happened in this movie.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Anyways, next week we're coming back. We're doing the one that scared everybody as children.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Return to Oz, where it's confirmed that, this shit was real. This really happened.
Everybody said you were nuts at the end of this, Dorothy. They're like, oh no, we're going to deal with this kid now.
Yeah.
This tornado messed with her brain.
She won't shut up about it.
God.
Yeah. It's a real Terminator 2 Sarah Connor situation.
She's doing so many chin-ups, Dorothy, now.
Oh my God, she's ready.
Look at her go. Oh no, she's got Professor Marvel by the neck. She's got a syringe to his neck. She's going to stick him with the poison.
Do it.
Yeah.
Kill him. Anyways, if you do want to see that early, you can actually head over to bigsandwich.co, which is like our private Patreon. And over there, you not only get early videos, we do video game Let's Plays, we do movie commentaries.
We got bonus podcasts.
We've got so many bonus podcasts, don't we? We've got a comic book club one. We've got one where we talk about clickbait that sucks.
That's right. Sometimes we talk about old years in pop culture.
Oh, we do have one like that, don't we?
I bet we've talked about The Wizard of Oz.
We should pick this year if we haven't already, which I'm not sure about. I'll look into that, Mason.
All right.
I'll speak to my people. Also, we have a podcast called The Weekly Planet where we talk movies and comics and TV shows. That comes out every Monday if you do want to give it a listen. That is free and available all platforms. YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Podbean.net.
That's right.
Check it out. All right. Thank you to Lawrence for the edit.
Thank you, Lawrence.
Wizard of Oz, good movie.
I thought it was pretty good.
Because you go into it, you're like, oh yeah, old movie, whatever.
Yeah,
I get it. It's a classic.
Yeah.
It's great.
It's not as good as The Matrix, though, is it?
No, The Matrix is amazing.
Yeah,
Remember when he
right?
did that big kick and everyone was
Yes.
like, holy shit, this guy's amazing.
I do remember that.
This is in The Matrix, but even for The Matrix, this is a lot of...
That's actually the only thing I remember at all.
At all?
Yeah.
Wow. You did very well in this video then.
Thank you.
All right, bye everyone.
Grab that jammy, guys. We'll see you next week.